Okay, it's live now. Okay, guys. So, one moment. Okay. So today we're going to speak about cloud economics and billing, and the topics are going to be fundamentals of pricing, total cost of ownership, simple monthly calculator, introduction to AWS organizations, AWS billing and cost management, overview of AWS technical support plans and costs. We're going to have a demo, overview of the billing dashboard, and activities, simply monthly calculator, and support plans, a scavenger hunt. Guys, when we have the labs, our class is going to be more dynamic. It's all theory now. And believe me, before when I taught this class, I had more time to do things in class, but these PowerPoints are super long. AWS updated the curriculum, and now it becomes more difficult to do something in class. But I try to do my best to, you know, make it more dynamic. Okay. So the objectives of this module is after completing this module, you should be able to explain the AWS pricing philosophy, recognize fundamentals pricing characteristics, indicate the elements of total cost of ownership, discuss the results of the simple monthly calculator, identify how to set up an organizational structure that simplifies billing and account visibility to review cost data, identify the functionality in the AWS billing dashboard, and describe how to use AWS Bills, AWS Cost Explorer, AWS Budgets, and AWS Cost and User Reports. Identify the various AWS technical support plans and features. But before I do anything, remember that we were trying to do something with the console, and we had a problem because of the IM. Remember?
Yes, good.
Well, it was fixed already,
Yeah.
right? And now, where's my cursor?
Do they say what was the issue?
Sorry?
Do they say what was the issue? I mean, AWS.
I haven't checked. Where's my? Just give me 1 second. I think I lost. Okay. Okay. Good. So, I want to check here, and I'm inside my console. Is this my console? No, this is not my. This is not my account. This is another account. All right. So I'm gonna access my account, and just give me 1 second. Let me use the this guy here, the multi-factor authentication. And then I'm gonna check. Remember, we're trying to do something on an Elastic Beanstalk platform as a service. So let's do something real quick. The other day we were not able to do anything because of the IAM issue. But now I'm gonna call it my first web app, right? I'm gonna choose here the platform. It's gonna be Node.js JavaScript. It's very simple. I'm gonna create the environment, and now it's gonna create it for me. This is a sample created by AWS, so there shouldn't be any problems now that we're trying to produce this. And of course, it's gonna tell you what's going on behind the scenes. So the environment has been created. Not it's not being created. It's starting, and now it's creating the S3 bucket, right? If we go to S3 bucket, let me see S3, right? It's creating a container for us. It's a container. It's right here. It says September 16. Well, today's September 18. This is something that was created on Wednesday. It wasn't created, but okay. Let me see here. Let me refresh this. Probably uses the same September 17. It's creating everything in behind the scenes. So it's creating the security group. It's created the auto scaling group. If we come here to the EC2 instance, right? and we click on auto scaling groups, okay, it's creating that right now. Okay, so it's creating everything for me. The instances, there's some instances that I created. Uh, this one is being initialized. So it's creating an entire environment for me. And you're gonna see at the end, it's gonna provide me with URL, and then I will be able to um, see my website, the website that the sample website that they created. Okay, so we can come back later. The last load balancer has been created too. Let's just show me that it's been created. Last load balancer is right here. It's created September 18 at 5:49 a.m. It's 5:51, so that's fine. Okay, so everything is being created. Okay, it's beautiful. This is platform as a service. Everything is being created. The instance deployment completed successfully. It's about to give me the URL that I need to be able to see the website. It's a web application. Okay.
Sorry, Professor, I don't see it. The console have all the details about all the service were created.
I'm the one. Yes, you can see this EC2 was added, right? You see this little ID here, this ID. If I come to EC2 instance and I come here to the EC2 dashboard and I see the instances right here, this is the same ID. It's right here. So I can see ending in CEED4, CDEED4.
Okay.
CEED4. Same thing. Okay. So now that it launched the environment successfully, I just have to wait a few more, probably 10, 15, 20 seconds more, and then it will show me the URL for that environment. Okay. I just
And
have,
basically, if we create an environment for
yeah,
app,
it creates everything. It creates the server, the virtual server. It creates the security group. It creates
everything for us. Okay.
It creates the elastic load balancer. It creates the auto scaling group to make it more available, scalable. It creates everything for me. And of course, when I click here, I get a website. Okay. So as simple as that, right? I get a website that is working. It's it has clickable links, and also I have to make some changes because this is very weird. This is very strange. You're not gonna give this to anyone. They're not gonna be able to remember this. So you have to buy a domain, right? And maybe call it my website or my personal website or something. And then you have to buy a certificate from Amazon or whenever you want to buy a certificate because this is not secure. Your connection to this site is not secure. Okay. So Amazon has something called certificate manager. Okay. You can buy the certificate from them too. You don't have to buy it from anyone else. So you can request the certificate here, right? And once you have it, you put the domain. Once you have it, then you want to be able to add it to that. And it's going to be very easy because as you created the website with AWS, integrating this is going to be very easy to do. Okay. So Elastic Beanstalk, it runs your code, it builds your code, deploys it, and does everything for you. You just need to upload the code. That's it. That's platform as a service. Okay. Pretty cool. And the good thing about it is it's free. You don't have to pay for it. Elastic Beanstalk is free. You pay for the resources that you create, but you don't pay for Elastic Beanstalk. So I have to pay for the EC2 that I've created. I have to pay for the elastic load balancer. I have to pay for what else? I don't have to pay for networking. I don't have to pay for security groups. But for the things that are running, right? For the server that was created, for the last load balancer, there's the one that distributes the traffic. I have to pay for that. Right? So fundamental pricing. So 3 fundamental drivers of cost with AWS. Things that you have to remember, guys, for the exam. There are 3 ways you're going to be charged in AWS: for compute, for storage, and for outbound transfer. Transfer that goes out, right? Transfer that comes in is free. It has some exceptions, but it's mostly free. Okay? But whatever goes out, you have to pay for it, unless it is within the same region to specific services. But mostly, whatever goes out, you have to pay for it. Okay? So compute, you will be charged per the hour or the second, depending on the operating system, right? If it is Linux or Windows, Linux only. So this is for second and hour. That's for Linux only. You're gonna be paid for hour for Windows. So it varies by instance type. The instance type, when you create the EC2 instance, right? I come here and I try to create one. I launch one. This is gonna affect the price of your EC2 instance. That's the instance type, right? That's gonna affect the price. The further down you go, the more you will have to pay, right? Because the power begins to increase, right? So here, if you see the header of this table, you're gonna see that, what's going on here? Okay. One moment, I'm losing control of my mouse. I don't know why. Okay, I think it's losing the charge. Okay, so back. You see here in the columns, you have virtual CPUs, memory, instance storage, EBS, optimized, available, network performance, IPv6 support, right? The more features you have, the more you will pay. So this will greatly affect the price of your instances, of your compute services, okay? Storage, it charged typically per gigabyte. When you talk about storage, you're talking about the S3 bucket or the EBS, the elastic block store, right? When we get to storage, we're gonna talk more about this. And of course, data transfer, outbound is aggregated and charged. Inbound has no charge with some exceptions. Uncharged typically per gigabyte, okay? So that's about what you charge for. How do I pay for AWS? Okay, pay for what you use. If you don't use, the good thing about this, guys, is if you don't use something, you don't pay for it, right? Compared to on-premises, if you don't use something, you still pay for it, right? Because you have it there. But the good thing about the cloud is that if you don't use it, you don't pay for it. Now, you pay less when you reserve. There are 2 types of reservations in AWS. We have 1-year commitment and 3-year commitment. There's no 2-year, there's no 1.5, there's no 2.5. It's 1 or 3. Guys, are you taking notes of what I say, or you're just listening to me?
Okay.
Taking notes.
You can take notes when you're pod. You know that? When you're pod, you can take notes.
Yep.
Okay. So you pay less when you reserve. If you reserve, let's say, your instances for 3 years, you're gonna pay less, but not pay less than purchase it for 1 year. I don't know if you understand what I mean. What I mean is, if you use your instances all the time for 3 years without reserving, you're gonna pay more than if you reserve. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. It's like if you buy 1, you pay 20. If you buy 3, you pay 35. Something like that. So if you buy 3 at once, instead of paying 60, you pay $45, for example. But if you buy 1 separately, separated from the others, then you're gonna pay 20, 20, and 20. That's what it means, okay? So the more, when you reserve for 3 years, for 1 year, you save money compared to if you just use the services for 1 year without reserving. That's what it means.
What
Because
happens if you don't fulfill the computing power? Do you roll it over?
what do you mean? No, you have auto
Good.
scaling. Don't forget, you have auto scaling. Don't forget that.
You
If
have what?
you have auto scaling. If you're not using it, it just scales down. Or
So what I
scale.
mean, when you reserve, you're actually purchasing ahead
Yeah,
for
because
computing.
yeah, because when you reserve, it's because you have a predictable pattern.
What if, let's say, the pandemic, we're not gonna have a
You can
huge
sell it.
Thanksgiving.
You can sell it
You can sell it to who?
Yeah.
Back to AWS?
to AWS or to other people. There's something called the marketplace in AWS.
Ah,
There's a marketplace in AWS. I need to charge my mouse. I'm losing control of my mouse. Okay, so there's something called here marketplace, marketplace subscriptions, where you can sell and buy, right?
but if let's say you don't use it, you lose it, correct?
I don't understand what you mean. If
So
you
let's say, all right, so let's say you have a 3-year commitment
Mhm.
and you purchase ahead a specific capacity.
Yes.
And after those 3 years, you only use half. Can
Mhm.
you continue until you finish? Or after the 3 years, you need to sign a whole 3-year, a whole year,
You have to sign another 3 year.
another 3 years? And
Yeah.
that comes with a prepaid as well.
Well, do you have a choice to sign without anything upfront?
Can you roll over the reserves?
I don't think you can roll over. It's a different commitment.
So that's what the marketplace is.
You have to, that's right. You can sell it. You can sell it. But don't forget that you have to be sure, you have to gather, meet with some architects, explain your business needs, and get to a consensus. If you have a predictable pattern for 3 years, then you can go ahead and reserve. If you don't do that, you can probably talk to AWS and get to a consensus. But a 3 year, you're locked in a contract. It's like when you have a contract, this is what you reserve, right? But basically you are paying monthly as well, but you're locked in a contract, and you're getting a discount of up to 75% discount when you do all upfront. Okay, so the different types of ways of doing this, and we're gonna get there. You can go all upfront, partial upfront, or no upfront at all, and then you're gonna get less and less discounts as you pay less money upfront. So when you start, it's a new contract, but people understand each other. You can talk to AWS, say, I have this capacity, I didn't use it, but that's why you have to have auto scaling and these services working together in your architecture, so you don't lose anything if you don't use it, because you're not buying a bunch of clothing at a store. You're buying services, and then you have other services that help you save on cost, right? Save money. So if I have some auto scaling, so that we work with on demand, the demand that you have right now, or a specific moment in your business, it will adapt to that demand and cope with high traffic, low traffic, and at the end of the day, you're not going to be either provision or on the provision, over provision or on the provision. You're going to be, working steadily. So you don't have to worry about, I didn't use this, I use more. That's what we talked about on Wednesday, that the capacity is going to be met at all times. If it is low, the demand, not the capacity, the demand is going to be met at all times. If it is low, it's going to be low. If it is high, it's going to be high. So it's going to be working, like fluctuating depending on the traffic that you have. So you don't have to worry about that. That's not a problem when you have auto scaling, right? So you don't have to worry about if I use this or I don't use this. You just locked in a contract, in a 3-year contract, and then you pay more. Why pay less? That's why you get a discount, because AWS is making sure that for 3 years you're gonna be paying, right? If you break that contract, you're gonna lose money. So That's the benefits of having a contract. But you have to make sure that you're going to be able to handle it for 3 years. Okay. If you're not sure, do it for 1. But people used to do that because, I mean, they save a lot on cost. And that's important. Okay. And also, you pay less when you use more. Okay. The more services you use, the more you're going to save, right? Because you have it like a bundle of services, right? So when you reserve, you pay less. When you use more, you pay less. And when AWS grows, as it grows, AWS can give discounts to the customers, and then you're gonna pay less. So 4 different ways to pay for AWS. Pay for what you use, pay less when you reserve, pay less when you use more, and as the AWS grows. Don't forget those four guys. They're gonna be in your exam.
When
Don't
you say when AWS grows, what constitutes the grow? What makes the grow?
more customers.
Oh,
More
I thought
customers.
it was data centers.
More customers.
Got it.
No, data centers, they come with the customers. You have more customers, you have to have more capacity. So your infrastructure has to change, right? But it's the customers because they have more people paying for those services, so they can afford to give customers discounts, right? That's why they give more. That's why you save so much money as AWS grows, right? And of course, if they grow, they have to increase the capacity they have, right? For what you use, pay only for the services that you consume with no large upfront fees, right? You have here on premises, right? So unless you build data centers for a living, you might have spent too much money and time building them, right? Unless you make them for a living, you make money for building that. But if you're building your data centers for using them, then you have spent a lot of money and time on that, right? So with AWS, you pay only for the services that you consume with no large upfront. So that's the good thing about AWS. And you can lower variable costs, so you no longer need to dedicate valuable resources to building costly infrastructure, including purchasing software licenses, servers, or leasing facilities. Right? So what do you do with AWS? It quickly adapts to changing business needs and redirect your focus on innovation and invention. So the good thing about this is you don't have to worry about the things that people typically think about when you have a business. You know, I have to buy servers, I have to buy this, I have to do this, that, administrators, this, packaging, installing, updating, things like that. No, what I can do is focus my efforts on good customer service and innovation, right? Because this thing that I had so many problems with is being taken care of by someone else who is the cloud provider. So I don't have to worry about that anymore. Okay, that's the good thing about AWS. Like I said before, you buy tons of servers, you still pay for them even if you don't use them, right? Because you already pay for them, right? With AWS, you don't have to pay for servers. If your capacity increases, your infrastructure will grow as well, scalable. If your capacity or your requests decrease, then it goes and decreases too. So that's a good thing. You don't have to worry. You don't have to keep on thinking about your needs or your capacity. You don't have to guess anymore, right? So pay less when you reserve. Invest in reserved instances. Whenever you see RI, that stands for reserved instances. You save up to 75%, right? Up to 75%. Options, all upfront, reserve instances. ORI, all upfront, ORI, reserve instances. Largest discount. It makes sense, right? The more you pay upfront, the more discounts you're gonna get, right? Partial upfront, reserved instances. PURI, lower discounts, and no upfront payment reserve instances, smaller discount. You still get a discount when you do no upfront, but it's not as large as partial and upfront. Okay, so 3 different investments in reserved instances: all upfront, partial upfront, and no upfront. Okay, that's very important. Don't forget that. The largest discount is the all upfront. The one in the middle is the partial upfront, and the least discount is no upfront. And you have here a graphic that gives you EC2 instances on demand, and then Nuri, Puri, and Ori. Okay, those are. It's a short way to just call them no upfront, no upfront, partial upfront, all upfront, reserve instances. Okay. Pay less by using more. Realize volume-based discounts. Saving at usage increases. Tier pricing for services like Amazon Simple Storage Service, Amazon S3, Amazon EBS, Elastic Block Store, Amazon Elastic File System, EFS. The more you use, the less you pay per gigabyte, right? Because you're using more, and then you pay less compared to using independently, right? So use more, so you can save more, right? Multiple storage services deliver lower store cost based on needs. So you use all of them together, integrated, so then you're gonna save more, okay? Good. Pay even less as AWS grows. As AWS focuses on lowering cost of doing business, this practice results in AWS passing savings for economies of scale. That's one of the, remember, that's one of the advantages of the cloud, the 6 advantages of the cloud. Now, remember that we checked online, and online it was not updated. It says 67. It's 75 times as of September 2019. So, and that was 1 year ago. There hasn't been any updated ever since, because this was updated in 2019, but it had a different update as well on March 2020. Okay, so future high performing resources replace current resources for no extra charge. Okay, so if there's resources that are being created that perform higher than the ones that you guys are using now as a business, then it will replace the one that are right now for no extra charge. You're not going to pay for that, just in case AWS updates or increases the capacity of a specific service or improves a specific service. Then you're not going to be charged for that. Okay, you're going to be continue being charged for using them, but not for that update or upgrade. Okay. Custom prices meet varying needs through custom pricing, available for high volume projects with unique requirements. This is a company, a huge company that has a huge project that you can have discounts. They can customize the cost for you. Okay. But that has to be agreed upon with AWS, depending on your needs. AWS Free Tier, that's what we have right now, guys. It enables you to gain free hands-on experience with the AWS platform, products and services, free for 1 year for new customers. But don't forget, guys, that there is a limit. There's a limit, right? You sign up for the account for 1 year. You learn it with 10-minute tutorial. There are tutorials everywhere, and start building with AWS. It's so easy to start building with this platform. Okay, very easy. And guys, I hope that you are, taking advantage of your free time and, trying to practice with the AWS console, and then you can become more familiar with it. Don't forget that you're going to probably be tested, about the console, something in the console. So you have to become familiar with this platform here. services with no charge, okay? Very important. These services are free, free and free and free. There's no charge for these guys, right? Everything that has to do with networking, I wouldn't say everything. Most of the services that have to do with networking are free, right? Because elastic IPs, if you click here, okay, elastic IPs, if you click here, it's here in the EC2 section, elastic IP. These guys, I have one here. These guys are free for the first EC2 instance, okay? And it is free if it is associated with an EC2 instance. If it is not, it's not free. And by the way, as I received a message from AWS telling me that I already reached my budget. I don't know what's going on here. Probably I'm using something and bills. There's no bill here. But it says that I already reached my budget. I have some credits here that I can use. I'm using this here. Still have $756 here. So I have to check my services because there's something that is running and I don't know what it is. Anyways, I'm gonna get back to EC2 and I'm gonna delete that IP address, elastic IP address, because it's not linked to anything. So I will disassociate it, right? And either IP polygons, it must be specified. Can have it elastic IP, either poly IP. Okay. Oh, I know. It's probably being used with the environment that I created with Elastic Beanstalk. What I have to do is go back to Elastic Beanstalk and delete the environment. And when I delete the environment, it's going to delete everything that the environment created. So I'm going to just provide here the name of the environment and terminate it. Now it's going to terminate every single service that it created, the Elastic Load Balancer, the EC2 instance, the auto scaling group, the Elastic IP. Everything is going to be removed immediately when this is done. Okay, that's the good thing about Elastic Beanstalk, that everything that you created with that is gone. The same with CloudFormation. With CloudFormation, it's this automation tool. Okay, with CloudFormation, you can create resources, and then if you delete the stack, that's what you call when you create. You have a template, and then you create resources. It's a stack what you create. If you delete the stack, everything that you create in your template is gonna, be terminated. Okay. Auto scaling group is not charged. Elastic Beanstalk is not charged. AWS CloudFormation is not charged. But whatever you create with them is gonna be, you have to pay for it. Okay. It says here there might be charges associated with other services that are used with these services. Okay, so with this guy, you're creating instances, because when the request, the demand is high, what's going to happen is going to create other servers. So those servers that you're creating, you have to pay for them. Auto scaling is free. Don't forget this screenshot, guys. This is going to be in your exam, right? VPC is free. Elastic Beanstalk is free. But remember, with Elastic Beanstalk, we created, an Elastic Load Balancer. We created an IP address. We created EC2 instances. Those things, you have to pay for them, right? But auto scaling is free. But whatever you create with auto scaling, which is servers, you have to pay for them. AWS CloudFormation is free. It's just a template, right? It's a template. And then and of course, a service too. When you use CloudFormation, I have CloudFormation here. If I just click here and I just put CloudFormation is just a place here when you create stacks, right? So I create a stack here this guy is free, right? So I can upload something here, upload some code, right? And I can create a server, for example, an EC2 instance with the template. And of course, guys, when we get to compute, I'm gonna teach you how to create instances from the CLI. From the console, I already taught you last class, I'm sorry. For this one, I'm gonna teach you how to create it from the CLI and how to create it from a CloudFormation template, okay? So once you have loaded the template here, then you can do next, and then, you know, run the template. And it's gonna tell you what is being created, okay? And of course, IAM is free. Everything that has to do with IAM, creating users, removing users, creating groups, creating policies, creating roles, everything that you see in IAM, everything is free. Of course, IAM is up and running. It had a problem before, but now is perfect. You know, it's beautiful here. Everything is here. So everything that you are, you know, doing, you do with this console here, the IAM console, everything is free. Everything. You can create policies, you know, that either grant permission or, you know, revoke permission, or just doesn't give permissions. Simple. That's what it does with IAM. Okay. So takeaways: there's no charge for inbound data transfer between services within the same AWS region. It's free between services within the same AWS region. Pay for what you use. Start and stop anytime. No longer contracts are required. It's not mandatory to have a contract. It's just, you know, it's just optional, right? Some services are free, but the other AWS services that they provision might not be free. Why? Because, for example, if I provide here, if I create with CloudFormation a VPC, what does it say here? The VPC is free. So if I create a VPC with this, that's not free. That's why it says there might be charges associated with other services. Okay. If I create a security group with CloudFormation, that's free too. Security group is not charged. Okay. So that's the way it is. Right.
Teacher, I don't know. Sorry, I don't know if it's a correct comment. Maybe you can fix it. Basically, what you say is all the data for set up the service is free. The data for use, we need to pay for it, right?
No. I'm talking about when you use the service, right? Or you see when we uploaded the code in Elastic Beanstalk, that process that it takes to create that's free. You're not using that. That time, because Elastic Beanstalk is a compute service, that compute time, you don't have to pay for it. It's free. When the AWS is running, I'm sorry, when the EC2, when an EC2 is running, you have to pay for that.
Okay.
But when Elastic Beanstalk is running, creating services for you, that is free. You don't have to pay for that. You just have to pay for what Elastic Beanstalk creates, right?
Okay.
Depending on what it creates. You know, if it creates auto scaling, because you guys saw that Elastic Beanstalk created an auto scaling group. That is free too, but auto scaling groups create EC2 instances. And the EC2 instances are not free. They're not free. Servers, you have to pay for them. Okay, so total cost of ownership. Guys, total cost of ownership, to be able to understand that, a total cost of ownership is everything that include to possess something. When you buy a car, right, you go to a dealership. Do you think that just paying the dealership and taking the car out is the total cost of ownership? Just paying the dealer? Even if you pay cash, do you think that that car is that's the total cost of ownership? Just you get there, you're gonna get a Mercedes-Benz and you pay $130,000 for Mercedes-Benz. You just leave the dealership and you go home, do you think that paying those 130K is the total cost of ownership?
No.
No.
Why not?
Maintenance.
That's right.
Maintenance,
Maintenance,
Insurance.
insurance,
car wash,
car wash, gas.
oil, gas,
That's the total cost of ownership.
Tires.
Right,
tires.
right. That's the total cost of ownership, right? So this is a tool that is used for people that are trying to move to the cloud. They want to see how much they will end up paying once they migrate to the cloud. So you can preview your expenses by using this tool, also known as TCO, total cost of ownership. That's what AWS uses for customers who are planning to move to the cloud to know how much they're going to pay once they migrate. Okay, you understand that? So on premises, you have the traditional infrastructure, right? So you have equipment, resources administration, contracts, cost, all of that. Now, this is not the same as what you have in AWS. In AWS, you have no front expense, pay for what you use. Remember, we have all upfront, partial upfront, and no upfront at all, right? So you're not obligated to pay upfront fees. You pay whatever you want. You start the way you want. But the less you pay upfront, the more you will have to pay later because there's no discounts or there's a small discount. So you pay for what you use. You improve time and market and agility, right? Because you are, concentrated on something else so you can innovate, improve your business. You can scale up or down, Remember, I think I mentioned that on Monday. You scale up when you want to increase the power of your EC2 instance. If I go back to the console, right? Let's see if I can go back to the console. I cannot go back to the console. Okay, what's going on here? Just give me one moment. So when I create an EC2 instance, if I come here and I want to create an EC2 instance, so I launch it. I launch an EC2 instance, and then here I have these guys here. So if I want to increase the CPU or memory or whatever, the RAM, I increase it. So I scale up by doing that, right? Or scale down if I want to reduce that, right? That's how you scale. Let's say that you have a computer and your CPU is not powerful, so you want to improve the CPU, or your RAM memory is 8 gigabytes and you want to make it 16 gigabytes. So you are increasing the power of your computer. That means scale up, right? You can also scale down, which is the opposite. You want to reduce the power, you have too much, then you want to reduce the power. So in that case, you can scale down. That's what scale up and scale down means. You can do that easily in AWS. And of course, it has a self-service infrastructure. Now, what is the total cost of ownership? Total cost of ownership, or TCO. So you will see TCO probably more than total cost of ownership. Don't forget that TCO is a financial estimate to help identify direct and indirect costs of a system, right? What are the direct costs? I go to the dealership, pay 130K. That's the direct cost. Indirect costs, insurance, things like that you don't have to pay when you purchase the car, unless you're financing the car, right? If you're financing the car, you have to leave the dealership with insurance. They don't let you go without insurance. They have to make sure that you call your insurance company and have a quote or update your insurance by changing the car. Probably you had a car before and you did that. But why? Because you're financing the car and the car belongs to the bank. The car is now yours. But if you buy the car completely, the car is yours. You can do whatever you want. So you just leave the dealership, right? So why use the TCO? Why? Because you want to compare the cost of running an entire infrastructure of a specific workload on premises versus the cloud. So you want to see how much money you're saving. That's a very convincing tool, because when you see that you pay $1,000 more, thousands of dollars more on premises, and you're saving thousands of dollars on cloud, and you see that visibly, you can see it with that tool, then you think, wow, I wanna move to the cloud, right? So also you use it to budget and build the business case for moving to the cloud. Okay, so you guys, you want to explain to someone, you want to propose this to someone, and then you have the TCO, right? You have the information from the company, and then I'll be back to you with more information. So here we have a business case here. Will you consider moving to the cloud? Let's see this. Okay. So TCO consideration, server costs, on premises, there's always server costs, right? You have hardware, server, rack, chassis, power distribution units, top of the rack, switches, and maintenance. You have all that. That has to do with servers, right? Also, you have to have a storage cost. You have to have hardware, storage disk, storage area network, fiber channel, switches. You have network hardware, local area network switches, load balancer bandwidth cost. You have to pay people, right? Server administrators cost. You have to have software operating system, virtualization licenses, the storage administration cost, network administration, blah, 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 blah. So much that you have to pay. So much, right? So someone just considered moving to the cloud should consider all of this, right? And of course, all of this was going to be calculated with the TCO. Now let's see some differences between what you see on premises and what you see all in the cloud, all in the cloud. Look at that. Look at the savings. Beautiful. See, you could say up to 96% a year by moving your infrastructure to AWS. So your 3-year total savings would be $159,913. Is that a good reason to move to the cloud? Is that a good reason? So
Of
just,
course.
okay, divide 159,913 by 3. Are you going to see how much you save every year, right? So on premises, look how much you pay on servers. 91,922. How much you're going to pay for AWS? 2,547. Storage, 67,000 and so more. AWS, 4,963. Network, 7,000. AWS, nothing. IT labor, you see, nothing both sides. Total, look at the difference.
Why is IT labor not considered under on-prem?
I'm sorry? No, in this case, you may not have, people working. It's possible that you don't have anyone working for that. Probably you're the owner, and you yourself take care of that. Probably you're an IT guy. So they're not considered in the IT labor. IT labor, you have to consider that, right? And also, what I said, you may not have anyone in your company that you pay for that. But consider the other 3. That's a lot of money, right? On premises. Okay. So when you see the graphic, there's a huge bar there.
Yeah.
Compared to AWS. Okay.
So to give you an example of what an administrator, a system administrator makes compared to an AWS, would you,
It depends
they're
on the
expensive.
company.
They're expensive, the AWS.
Yeah, that's right. That is right. Yep. Everything that has to do with IT, you have to pay well. If you're a business owner, you have to pay well, because that's a job that is paid well. Okay.
Sometimes that information is not filtered down. When they want to get an engineer, they're like 150. I could have stayed with my 59K that I was paying for the sysadmin that I had. Now it's 100K more just to get somebody knowledgeable to be able to migrate.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, the simple monthly calculator, that's another service that AWS has. Of course, now AWS is using, I think since June, they're using the pricing calculator. If I put here a simple monthly calculator, okay, monthly calculator. Okay, I think that probably AWS discontinued this. So now we have the pricing calculator. I put calculator here. Oh, there's no calculator here. Google is my best friend. Don't forget that. Google's gonna be your best friend. So that's what I was looking for. Thank you for your continuous feedback for the AWS pricing calculator to ensure the features requested from customers are available in the AWS pricing calculator. The simple monthly calculator's deprecation date has been delayed from June 30th, 2020 until further notice. So they're still using it, but this is the guy that's going to replace the simple monthly calculator. Okay, like I said, it was scheduled to disappear or to be discontinued or deprecated on June 30th. I remember when I during this pandemic, I taught this class in May, and we were getting that this message all the time. Every time that we would try to access the simple monthly calculator, we got this message that on June 30th, it's going to be deprecated, and the pricing calculator is going to be used. But still, there were some people that were giving feedback, and they were requesting some features. Now they have decided to extend the deprecation of the simple monthly calculator. I'm gonna put this this page on Slack for you guys. This is the simple monthly calculator. Okay, this guy is gonna be in the exam as well, so treat this guy gently. Okay. Good. Lunch, continue with the simple. I have both choices here, right? So let's continue with this one. And then we have here, the services, the 50-year Amazon S3, how much, if I put it here, 34, I can just simply calculate how much, right? So this is a good service as well, but this one is used when you are already in the cloud, right? It's not the same as, the TCO that it does before you move to the cloud. This one is once you are in the cloud, okay? So with a simple monthly calculator, you can estimate your monthly costs, you can identify opportunities to reduce monthly costs, and you can use templates to compare services and deployment models, okay? So this is the link. I don't think it is it is clickable. I don't think it's clickable for you guys on Nearpod. So maybe I can copy this and put it on Slack. It's very similar to the one that I put there, but the one that I think is the same, right? That's okay. The same thing at the end of the day. Okay. So the TCO calculators estimate cost savings, use detailed reports, modify assumptions. So something to notice here, the simple monthly calculator doesn't give you a report. There's nothing about report in what it says here, okay? But the TCO, it gives you a detailed report. You see there? So if they ask in the exam, what is a tool that is used to have detailed reports of your cost on AWS? Then that will be the TCO, okay? And the TCO, I think that you can put here in AWS console. And there's no TCO either, so I will have to put here TCO AWS, and then we're gonna get some thing here. Okay, this is something different. So you get more information about this guy here. You know, more on TCO here. Okay. Or we can simply just click on this guy, and it's going to take me there. Okay. This is the TCO or pricing calculator. Okay. Start your estimate with no commitment. Explore AWS services and pricing for your architecture needs. Okay. Beautiful. Any questions, guys? No questions? So far, so good?
So far, so good.
Give me a heartbeat. I want to know that you're still breathing and alive.
I'm alive.
Good, good. Thank you. So like some people say, you know, what did they say? They say, be alive. What's it they tell you? Be alive? What is the expression that people use? Be alive? Look alive. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mike. Look alive. Yeah, thank you. So give me a smoke signal or something, you know, so I can know that you're alive. So we continue. Almost there for the break. So additional benefits consideration, hard benefits, soft benefits. So there's not much to say about this. Hard benefits are benefits that you cannot change. That's what hard means, right? So benefits that you can get from AWS, but you know, there's you cannot change this. You know, soft benefits is that you can ask for modifications, and you can talk to AWS, get some you know, benefits reductions, you know, benefits increase, whatever you want to say. That's what benefits hard and soft means. Okay. So this is an example, a case study of this company, Delaware North. This is a company that, you know, it's a company that has been growing globally with over 200 locations in the entire world, 500 million customers, 3 billion annual revenue, right? The challenge was to meet the demand to rapidly deploy new solutions, right? That was before they met AWS. They moved to AWS. They had a big challenge. How do we meet this demand rapidly? We want to deploy solutions, new solutions, but we have a problem. And they have to be constantly updating the equipment because the equipment is getting old and older, right? So you have to improve that. So what was the criteria? Broad solution to handle all the workloads. That's what they needed, right? They needed to be able to modify processes to improve efficiency and lower costs. They needed to eliminate the busy work, such as patching software, you know, and achieve a positive return on investment, ROI. So that's what they needed, right? Solution. They moved their on-premises data center to AWS. Look what they did. Eliminated 205 servers, 90%. So they didn't move completely. So they moved as a hybrid, right? Moved nearly all applications to AWS. They kept the hybrid, you know, deployment model. And they decided to go for a 3-year term, you know, contract with AWS with reserved instances. Now, look at the comparison, right? In a 5-year summary cash flow views, actual. Look at that. So on-premises environment, this is what they, you know, had to spend, right? So here we have 2 million, right? Delaware on-premises environment. In AWS, look at that, right? That's the targeted AWS environment using a 3-year our reserve instances plus a 3-year reserve instances renewal. So they basically have had a 6-year contract, right? But this is after 5 years, right? So it was spending like $2 million on you know, resources, and then they start minimizing that as the year went by. But look at that. Remember, they were hybrid. Okay, they were not all in, but you still can see how much they save being hybrid, right? So you see the difference is enormous, right? So the cost of ownership business goal growth enhanced. So this was the business goal: enhanced 24/7 business operational efficiency. Of course, guys, when you go this way to the cloud, you're gonna have so much success working with your customers, right? So now they can work 24 hours 7, working on the operational efficiency. They could optimize the resources, robust security compliance, enhance disaster recovery, increase computing capacity. Now, 1 day to provision new businesses, speed to market, just 1 day to provision new businesses, just minutes to push out a service, continuous cost optimization and reduction. So it was like a snowball of success and benefits after they moved to AWS. Break up into groups of 4 or 5. Guys, we're not going to do this. We don't have time for this. Okay. I use the specifications provided to develop a cost estimate using the Amazon. We don't have time for this. Probably you can go over. You have the PowerPoint. You have the video. Probably you can go over this when you have more time. But this is just for the sake of you becoming more familiar with the simple monthly calculator. You don't have to know how this operates as an expert for the exam. So when you have some time at home, go over this. Okay. So we're going to talk about AWS organizations now, but we're going to take a break. We're going to take a 15 minutes break, and I will see you at 7:05. Okay? At 7:05.
Thank you.
Enjoy your break.
I don't know, right? We have to figure out what we're doing since I don't know that, you know.
Audio. Here it comes.
Oh, uh,
Hey guys, did we lose the professor connection? I cannot hear anything.
It looks like.
Okay, guys.
Yeah,
you
we
hear me?
can hear now. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So let me share my screen. So we were here talking about organizations, right? Now, what is this? What does this diagram show? It shows a basic organization or root that consists of 7 accounts that are organized into 4 organizational units. That's what the organizations are composed by. Okay, they're composed by organizational units. So think of this as a folder hierarchy in your computer. So you have the main folder, and you have inside like several folders, right? Several folders. And then you can have like files inside the folders. That will be the accounts. So we can say that organizational units are like folders, and then files are the AWS accounts. Okay? So an organizational unit can also contain other organizational units. Of course, like in a folder, you can have folders inside folders, right? So this structure enables you to create a hierarchy that looks like an upside down tree with the root at the top, right? So, you know, a tree, it's just that you have the leaves, the branches, and then you have the root. Here's the opposite. You have the root, and then you have all the branches and everything, right? So the branches consist of child OUs, and they move downward until they end in the counts, which are like leaves, like the leaves of the tree. When you attach a policy, so you have several policies here, policy, and this is what I call a service policy, service policy agreement, right? Service control policies. I'm sorry, service control policies, or CSCP, right? So these policies will affect this organizational unit, right? And this policy will affect this organizational unit, and this policy will affect this organizational unit. Okay, but this policy also affect this account, right? What is the thing with this is that whenever you have a policy that is applied to a specific OU, everything down will be affected too with that policy. So that's this about AWS organizations. So this account here is going to be affected by the policy that is this OU is affected. This OU is affected too, and these 2 accounts as well. The same is going to happen with this, but we have something interesting here. We have a policy that is being applied to this organizational unit, and it's going to override this policy. Okay? So the policy that is directly applied to an organizational unit or to an account overrides whatever policy was inherited from the upper element in the hierarchy. Okay?
So the farther from the root, it's going to be overridden everything in top of that node.
Yes. So you have one here. If you have another one that is coming to this account is going to be affected by whatever policy is being applied. So that overrides the one from here. If there's nothing being applied, like in this case here, all of these guys here in this tree are going to be affected by this policy that is applied to this, you know, like say the master OU.
If the resort, they are different, doesn't matter.
What do you mean a result?
For example, if one policy for one resort and the other policy for a different resort, like a service, something like that, and both policies are different, the father continue working and the child, or you need to the child, or you need to reapply the father policy and the second one.
No. Okay, this guy affect this one, right? Let's say that you have another guy, let's say this one is gonna affect this one, okay? So this is the only one that's gonna be overridden. This continue to be affected by this one, okay?
Exactly.
So if you apply one directly to a specific account, okay, that account is going to be affected only, right? But when it's applied to a master OU, like this one, it affects everything down, except this one that is being affected by another policy. Okay. In this case,
How does this work with, like, when you select Active Directory, for example?
no, this has to do with accounts.
With AWS accounts. So it's a different thing, no matter.
Not with services.
So it's an authentication difference for both.
That's right. This is for accounts.
Let me reformulate the question. For example, if one policy is deny access for database 1, and the second one is deny access for the database 2, can apply the policy for?
No, this is not for databases. This is not for services. This is for accounts. Organization works at the account level. For services, we have IAM.
Okay.
IAM is the
Active
service.
Directory?
IAM is the service. It's a service, authentication services that work with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's why I was confused.
Yeah. For this level is an account. Your account, for example, another account, because an organization may have different accounts. One account for human resources, one account for developer, one account for designers, one account for payroll. They have different accounts, right? And they all beneath, under the root account, okay?
The same concept applies to Active Directory account, or it doesn't have anything to do with that?
The Active Directory is a
It's
service.
different. It's a little different, yeah.
Okay.
It's a service, right? Active Directory is just like a bridge between on-premises and the cloud. Okay,
got it.
For authentication and users, all that. Okay, you can have only one OU can be the child of one OU. Okay, so I cannot have one OU coming from two different OUs. Like this one, we have this case, right? This is the parent of this child, right? But this child cannot be child of another parent. It doesn't even make sense in life, right? You only have one father. Whoever he is your father. The other one, it will be the stepfather, right? It's not your father. The same thing here. You can only have one parent or you.
Okay? Inheritance.
Yes. Right. Now, one of you can have different child, but one of you can have only one parent. You know what I mean? Okay.
Yes.
So when you attach a policy to one of the nodes in the hierarchy, it flows down and it affects all the branches and leaves. This example organization has several policies that are attached
subscribers
and not attached directly to accounts. Okay. I know you can have only one parent, and currently each account can be member of exactly one OU. So these guys are called member accounts. Okay, these are member accounts. These are organizational units, and this is the root account. Guys, what you have right now, if you open the account with AWS, that is the root account. That's what you have right now. So organizations are free. You don't pay for that. That's free, completely free. Okay, this is free. This service is free. Okay. Beautiful. Key features and benefits. Okay, AWS organizations, policy-based account management. You apply policies, right? Apply policies to, manage the accounts, not the services, because you also have policies for services, but the policies for services come from IAM. Okay, I show you in the account. If you come here and you choose IAM, You have a section here, the sidebar that says policies. This is what you provide for services, right?
An example of policies for
A policy-
organization.
A policy for organization is a service, something that you apply that this, for example, this account cannot access an S3 bucket, or this account cannot, the developer account cannot create this resource, you know, or this account can only do this, not that. So service control policies, you're controlling the power and the access of an account. Okay, so you can limit, you can restrict access, you can grant access, but at the account level, you know, not at the service level.
Okay, got it. That was my question, but that my confusion was with service or not. Okay, if
This
we
is for services.
if we restrict something in AWS for a group, for a organization group, and then the child have a different policy, but the policies is different. It's other resource, additional, like we restrict an additional
Yeah,
object. Both are applied, or only the child
but
policy?
you're talking about a group. This is not about groups. This is accounts.
No, I'm talking about hierarchy. For example, you have a policy, you don't have access to ADB2 or DB2.
EC2.
And the child have other policy for restrict access for EC2. The child have restriction for both, or just the child policy is effective? Because normally in hierarchy, you can apply and include an addition policy in the child, and that way you don't need to repeat the policy from the file.
Okay, but this is not, when it comes to services, you don't have a hierarchy. Services just interact with services. There's no hierarchy. There's not a service more important than the other one. We're talking about two different things. Organizations, they have a hierarchy, like a tree-like format, you know, but that's organizations. That's for a level of the account. For services, you just create a policy for the service to be able to what is the word? Interact with another service. That's what you do. You give permission, for example, let's say that an EC2 wants to retrieve information from an S3 bucket. That EC2 server needs a policy that lets the EC2 retrieve information from the S3. So we have to look for something called S3 here, right? And then we're gonna give that EC2 instance S3 full access, for example. Or maybe if you need the EC2 instance to read only, you can give the read only access. So this is for services to interact with each other. There's no hierarchy, there's no child parent, there's nothing here that is more important than anything else. We're talking about organizations, that's something different. That's accounts, right? And you have a master, like a master organization unit, and then below that, you have member accounts, okay? To have more control, to be more organized. Now, this is not mandatory. This is optional. Organization is not something that you have to do because you are in AWS. It's a choice, okay? If you want to be more organized, it's a free choice that you have that you can use. It's a free option, okay? But services don't work because one is more important than another one, or one is higher in rank than the other one. Services just interact with each other using a policy. And the policy is inside a role. When you create a role, for example, and you have a role for EC2 instance, let's say that EC2 instance wants to, interact with an S3, then you do this, right? You give it the EC2 instance as, first of all, let me go back. This is the service that's going to use the role, right? So it's going to be EC2, it's going to receive the role. So you click that permission, and now you put the service that is going to be interacting with EC2, or the service that EC2 is going to be interacting with. So it's S3, I just select S3 full access. I don't need to give it a tag. So now I'm going to name it S3 with EC2 interaction. An example, just an example, okay? Now I create a role. The role is applied automatically, right? But now when I create an EC2 instance, right, which I couldn't do on Wednesday because there was a problem with IAM, right? When I create the instance, I just select everything here, continue. When I get to this point here, I will get a role. I can select here and I find the one that I just created. See here, S3 with EC2 instance. Now this EC2 instance is gonna have that role and it can easily interact with the S3 bucket.
Okay.
Okay. If there's no role, you're gonna get an error, like say access denied, because your EC2 instance doesn't have the role, the permission, the policy that I created to interact with that. Now, if I go back, let me go back to IAM, right? And I look for that role. Let me look for the role that I just created. Let me just type here S3, and I'm gonna find it. It's right here. If I click here and I'm going this, I'm gonna see a policy. The policy is right here. When I click on JSON, this is the policy. Okay, a policy is a JSON file that has, key and value, key and value, key and value. So I'm saying the effect is allowed. I'm allowing that EC2 instance to access the S3. What am I going to do? You see this Y card here? It means that whatever action that I do that I can take, S3 is allowed. All the actions, right? All the actions, right? And the resources are all of them. So I can do whatever I want because I have S3 full access. That EC2 instance is free to do whatever it wants with the ES3 bucket. So that's how policies work, but this is a different policy. We're talking about a service control policy at the level of the account. That's different. That's to control the account. This is just for services to interact. You're not controlling anything, right? You're just giving access to a service to interact with another service. In the level of the account, which is something very important because you don't want to mess up with an account, you have to have control. And that's why you apply a service control policy. Okay? So guys, I want you to understand that there's no hierarchy in these policies. This is just interaction between services. Services to interact with each other, they need a role. If they don't have a role with a policy attached to that, they cannot interact. When I create a Lambda function and I show you how to create and interact with other services, you're gonna see that if the Lambda function doesn't have an IAM role, it cannot interact with anyone. Okay? So you guys understand my point? Is it clear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not 100%, but yes.
So what will be
What's
an
your name?
account policy?
An account policy?
Yeah, like an example of an account policy.
The same thing. You can have access to S3. This account has access to S3. Let me show you. I think I created an organization on Wednesday. Let's see here. It's the same thing, but it's at the level of the account. But you're not interacting with anyone. You're just restricting or granting access to an account. Okay, let me see. Where's my organization account? Okay, let me see here. This one has a service policy, service control policy, full access, AWS, full access AWS, and EC2 full access. That doesn't make sense, right? Because if you have, what's the point of having both? If I have this, I have this, right? So this account has an attached policy that gives it access to the entire AWS. Of course, it's my account. This is a root account, right? This is a root account. But this one, for example, this one has the same thing. You know why? Why do you think it has the same access? Because it is under the root access. It is under the root account, and the root account has that policy. So everything down is affected by that policy. Okay? So whose name is the person that said that didn't understand 100%, but
Me.
what's your name?
Ruben.
Ruben.
Yeah.
Just
Because, for example, if
Yeah.
the second one is not allowed, it's denied, we can allow full access for everything and create a second one for deny and a specific resource, or no?
If this one is denied, then that deny has a preference over allow. So
it's denied for one and a specific resource.
Right.
For example, we deny one resource and the other one, you're gonna have access a full resource versus -1.
Correct.
Okay, that's my question.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, deny has preference over allow. Okay, but if you have full access and you specify deny access to EC2, then you will have full access to everything except EC2.
That is my point for the child. If the child have the deny, that means you're gonna have full access because the parent give you the full access, but the child gonna have deny and a specific account.
Okay, that's right. But that's at the level of the organization, account level. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, so so group-based account management, application programming interface APIs that automate account management, consolidated billing. One of the benefits, and it's something free, by the way, one of the benefits of having an organization is that you can have consolidated billing. Okay, you may have only one bill for the entire organization. Okay, and with that way you can have more control. So the root account gets a bill for the entire organization. Okay, that's one of the benefits of organization, right? Consolidated billing. Security.
As well as distributor, right? You can actually distribute the bill on each organization.
Yes. Consolidated billing is optional, but that's one of the benefits. Control access. Go ahead. Control access with AWS identity and access management. Okay, you can have that too. IAM policies enable you to allow or deny access to AWS services. You see here, because you can use a SCP, service control policy, but you also can integrate IAM. But IAM are gonna work with services and users and groups and roles, but not organizations, not accounts. I want you to understand the difference between IAM and service control policies. Service control policies work at the account level. IAM works at the user level, at the service level, at the group level, and the role level. That's where IAM works. Okay, so don't be confused with that. So service control policies, also known as SCPs, enable you to allow or deny access to AWS services for individual groups, accounts in an organizational unit, right? So IAM is to deny access to services for roles, groups, and roles. SCPs is to deny or allow access to AWS services for individuals or group accounts. You may have only one account in your organization. You may have only one account. In my organization here, I could easily leave my one here and not create the other ones. I still have an organization that has only one account, my account, right? So I can work on that using service control policies, or I can work at the level of the user, right? Because the users are going to be inside the account at the level of the groups and roles. Okay. So how does it work? Step one, you create the organization. Step two, you create organizational units. I think I did that on Wednesday. Step three, you create the service control policies. So you'll apply the service control policies and you test the restrictions. So you're gonna test if it works, right? Now, we have some limits here, right? I'd like you to take a look at the limits here. So the name must be composed of Unicode characters, right? It must not exceed 250 characters in length. I don't think that there's anyone in this world that's gonna write a name with 250 characters. That's a lot, okay? It's gonna be like a paragraph. So number of accounts, okay? So how does it work? An invitation will be sent to an account, counts against this limit, okay? You're gonna say an invitation to an account. In this case, I am having an organizational unit, but now when I'm gonna add the account members, I can send I can send an invitation to another account that I have as well, right? Let's say that I'm the owner of the company and I have the root account, but I also have an account for HR, an account for developers, an account for database administrators, an account for payroll, an account for maintenance, an account for the cleaning department, and then I'm going to send an invitation to them. They accept the invitation and they will join the organization. That's how it works, right? There's going to be only one root account. I can have up to 1,000 organizational units, okay? Number of policies, I can have up to 1,000 policies, okay? The maximum size of a service control policy document of that document that contains the permissions is about 5 kilobytes, 5,120 bytes, okay? The maximum nesting of OUs in a root is 5 levels. So you can go down only 5 levels. We go down only 1 level here. You can go 4 more. Okay, no more. In a folder hierarchy in your computer, you can have as many folders as you want inside the main folder, right? One folder inside a folder, one folder inside a folder, many. In this case, it's only one organizational unit, the main one, and then 5 under that one, up to 5. That's what it means nested. Nested means one inside the other, okay? Those are the limits, don't forget that. Okay, how many invitations per day? 20, okay? Number of members account you can create concurrently, only 5. Only 5 member accounts you can create at the same time. No 6, only 5. A number of entities to which you can attach a policy, unlimited. Okay? You can attach a policy, one policy, unlimited times. Okay? You can only have 1,000 policies, don't forget, but you can get one policy and attach it to a number of entities, groups, users, member accounts, things like that. Ways to access the organization, just by the console. Okay, what is the console? This is the console, right? You can also access to the CLI. Okay, this is one of your best friends to create things. Create organization. CLI, AWS. So this is the command line for that. Example. Sample here, no example, right here. Okay. We create an organization using this command line with this create organization. And of course, the anatomy of an AWS command, always the first word is AWS. The second is the service, and then the operation you're going to perform. And of course, this command has this consolidated billing option selected. Okay, so you can create that. And then once you create that organization, then you're gonna have this output. Remember, someone asked me, why do we put JSON as an output when you configure the CLI? Remember, someone asked me? Guys, are you here? Guys, you here?
Yep.
We're here.
Yeah. Someone asked me what was the is it here? Wait. Trying to add this here. Someone asked me one moment. All right, you're breaking up. Whoever is speaking is breaking up. All right. So remember when we use configure, AWS configure, and then we had this guys, and then we got to this point, said JSON. You see JSON here. This format, output format, is exactly this that I should show you here. This is the output. Okay. When you create an organization, this is the output. This is JSON. Okay, this is JSON. That's the output. Okay, and we're gonna see that later. Okay, you can also access organization using this SDKs, the software developer kits, and also using the HTTPS query application programming interface API, using that too. That's for developers. You don't have to worry about that now. Okay. So introducing AWS billing and cost management. Okay. So now we have this billing dashboard. If you go here, I think I showed it to you guys already, but I'm gonna do it again. If you come here and just type billing, and then I click on billing. This is the billing dashboard. Okay, beautiful. Billing dashboard. All the service here, all the services. Right, Amazon, 100%. This is, you have exceeded your free tier usage limit. This is a elastic compute cloud. This is a snapshot. Do I have a snapshot here? That is weird. Let me check this, guys, before. And maybe it may be good for you to identify what you are spending on. Okay, let me just terminate these guys here. Okay, gonna terminate these guys. Change state. Terminate. Again, then terminate this. It's being terminated right now. I have a volume here. Do I have volume? I have 3 volumes here. Okay, they're gonna be deleted when the 3 instances are deleted. This is gonna disappear. Snapshot. I don't have any snapshot. Okay, everything is fine. I have a key pair here. This is fine. The elastic IP, it's still there. I wonder if the environment was deleted. Okay, still there. I don't know what's going on here. Elastic beanstalk. The environment is not there. So I have to see why I have that particular IP address, elastic IP address there. But that's something I'm gonna do later. Okay. So the payment method associated with your account is not valid. Okay, weird, because I'm using my credit. Okay, but this is the billing dashboard. This is when you see your budgets, right? By the way, I already exceeded this budget. Something I have to check this. And I created this on Wednesday, remember? I think it was on Monday when I created this. And then I have budget reports here. I can get some reports here, right? On the first budget, the one that I created on Monday. So I have in September, I just put here 5, and I have, minus 530 as a total was 1081. Okay. And they forecast that I will spend 1990. Okay. Probably by the end of the month. So, and that's going to increase 397%. It's going to be like, almost, 200% more than I had before. Okay, something like that. Okay, and this is, what is actual and budgeted, right? September, right? And all my expenses, throughout the period since I opened my account. Okay, so that's a report that I can print here. So just remember that in the billing console, I can print a report by clicking on budget reports. Okay, service plans is a type of plan that AWS just created back in, I think it was October, for EC2 instances that you save even more money. You say EC2 instances usage, and also for Fargate, which is a serverless compute service, and also for AWS Lambda, which is a serverless compute service as well. Okay, so it's like like a one-stop view here where you have several things here. You can see your bills here. You want to see my bill. Now here I can see by service, in what region my services incurred charges. Okay, I don't have anything now because it seems that it pulled the money from my credit and paid my bill. Okay, so We have AWS budgets. It's right here. Budgets. We have AWS cost and usage report. We have here, right? And we have AWS Cost Explorer. It's right here. These guys will help you also with the services, right? It shows the monthly spent over the last 3 months, grouped by AWS services, right? It shows the monthly spent over the last 3 months, grouped same thing by linked accounts, and this is only available for paying accounts in AWS organizations. So we don't have that capability because we have a free account, and we don't have an organization that is fully operational. So we don't have the last 3 months for linked accounts, okay? And it shows you a daily spend view for over the last 60 days, right? So it's pretty good, right? A cost explorer will help you with the cost, right? Beautiful. So this is an example of the bills. The bills is something that I just showed you, but I don't have anything. In this case, we have an invoice, right, of $15 right here. We have some usage here, charges $7,438.11 on 41 cents. I'm sorry, and then we have another invoice here. So this is the AWS marketplace charges. This is AWS service charges, right? So probably you bought something in the market. You can buy things in the market, and you can sell things in the market, right?
How good is it? I mean, is it, do you have to sell it cheaper, or do you negotiate with other?
Well, it's like any other market. You sell higher and buy cheaper, but you have to compare the prices that other people have. It's like a store. It's like a market only for AWS, right?
Interesting.
For example, when we get to compute, we're gonna see something called spot instances. It's instances that are on auction. They're being auctioned by AWS, right? So AWS will share with you a spare capacity. And
from a technical role, who handles the selling? I mean, you're busy already administering this thing. Is there a special person?
This is for the business people.
Oh, the business.
The sales department that's doing selling and buying all things like that. But you have to have people in place, administrators, things like that, sysops administrators, people that handle the business section of the business, the business part, the business,
This is a brand new role.
Yeah, this is great. This is great. AWS is great, right? And you also have the cost explorer here. It's going to tell you the last 3 months, right? You can have a vision of the future too, because it projects your cost, give you a projected cost of your resources, right? You can have the budgets, right? Like we created on Monday. We said that, we can set a budget of $200. When I get to the $100, please let me know that I have incurred or reached the budget amount, the limit. And by the way, I got an email telling me that I already reached the limit of my budget. So AWS will notify you, right? AWS is not telling you, please remove that. No. They notify you, and then you act upon that. You just do whatever you want, right? The reports, here you can have the product code, Amazon S3, EC2, S3, the user type, request tier 1, operation list all my buckets, usage amount 2, right? Currency code USD, right? You have, T2 micro, user type, tier 1, things like that. And then list all my buckets, run instances, like it's just like a detailed view of your expenses, right? Amazon billing dashboard demonstration. Here you have whatever we saw before, right? This is very similar to what we saw before, right? It's very similar to home, similar, but there's no colors here. There's no colors because there's nothing to be charged, right? But this one, you can see, has a bill of $168.20, right? And it tells you here SageMaker, Elasticsearch, database migration service, EC2, other services. Okay, I tell you the last month to date, and forecast. So it gives you a forecast here. It's a very good thing, right? Technical support. Okay, something that guys you have to remember for your exam. Support plans. Support plans. You have 4 support plans in AWS. We're gonna see them right away, just in a few minutes, but you have to remember that. Okay. So AWS provide a combination of tools and expertise. AWS support plans. Support is provided for experimenting with AWS, production use of AWS, and business critical use of AWS. Okay. So AWS has a proactive guidance, has a technical account manager. This guy knows what he's doing. This guy probably knows AWS, all the ins and outs from head to toe. This guy makes a lot of money. Okay. If an AWS interview to get a job there is difficult, this is a tough interview. You have to show these people that you know, because this is a dedicated engineer for a company. It's a dedicated engineer. It's a person that's going to be with the company, and the cost of the plan that has this guy is $15,000 a month. So this guy is only in the enterprise support plan. It's only in the enterprise support plan, and the cost of that plan monthly is $15,000 a month. That's a lot of money. Okay. So best practice, always use AWS Trusted Advisor. That's the expert in the cloud. It's a nice guy. It gives you recommendations of things that you have to work on, like security, cost, optimization of services, things like that. Okay. Account assistance. There's an AWS support concierge, right? That's going to be there. It's a billing and account expert, right? Billing and account expert that will provide quick and efficient analysis on billing and account issues. The concierge addresses all non-technical billing and account level inquiries. So this person handles non-technical billing problems, right? The TAM handles technical problems. That's the difference. Now we have the 4 support plans here. The one that we have right now is the basic one. Okay, that's the basic support. And believe me, the basic has nothing. It has nothing. It only has resource center access that every single plan has. Service health dashboard, what we saw on Wednesday. Remember that we detected, now we didn't detect anything. We just realized that there was an issue with the IAM service. We saw it in the service health dashboard, right? We have access to the product FAQs, right? All the questions that people ask about products, we have access to that. Discussion forums and support for health checks. That's the only thing that we have. That's it, no more. We cannot make a phone call to address an issue. We cannot have any chat, any email, nothing. We don't have any support. We just have basic support, but it's not interactive. It's just we read stuff, things. That's it. Now the developer support is a support for early development on AWS. No, these are people that are developing, so they need support, right? Now, the business support, it has customers these customers are on production workloads, right? They're working that stage after the product is developed. There's the production stage. That's the moment that you need a business support plan if you want to get support, right? Now you have the enterprise support, which is customers that run business and mission critical workloads. So if your business is very important and critical, business that have a workload that is super important, you better get this plan, okay? But of course you have to afford it, right?
Oh,
Now,
what does the 15K a month entitle? Let's say I have no idea about AWS and I buy the enterprise.
It gets support through chat, email, and phone. you get any kind of support, technical and not technical, billing and not billing, and over everything you have, above everything you have the TAM. You have the TAM. That's what makes it
Do
awesome.
they create the whole hierarchy? You know, this is your organization, this is going to be your act. Nope.
No. That's
So
irresponsible.
you're paying the 15K and then you have to hire an AWS that will migrate you to the cloud. So that's aside from the enterprise support.
The TAM will help you do that. Okay.
Oh,
But
the
that's a
TAM
guy
will help you do that. Okay.
that's a guy dedicated for you. It's a guy dedicated for you alone, right?
But he
Well,
has to understand my business.
that's right.
So,
That is right.
and
That is
he has to build it for me. He has to
That's
put,
right.
you know, these are the users, these are your organization units,
But
these are.
but don't forget, you're gonna have developers in your business. You're gonna have solutions architect in your business. You have to have that.
Solutions architects that don't know anything about AWS.
No. The solutions architect are AWS certified solutions.
AWS. Okay. But
Yeah,
I'm talking about for a business that has no AWS experience whatsoever.
Right.
And they're embarking in the AWS solution. They
But-
get the enterprise support and then they have to hire an AWS.
But if you don't have the AWS solutions architect, you have to require that your developers and your technical people
Become AWS.
be certified,
I got it. So
right?
it's a journey that before you jump in it, you need to kind of train your workforce and then jump into the cloud.
You have to train your staff. You have to probably hire an AWS expert. It will come to your company and train your personnel. Your
Got it.
personnel need to be trained to be able to manipulate and maneuver this huge monster, okay? Because it's something new, for your company. Okay?
Exactly.
But you could hire AWS TAM to come to your organization every week or however you want to hire. But sometimes you could hire a TAM to help you build an organization, build your infrastructure.
You're telling me, or you're asking me?
No, I'm telling you. Sometimes you could hire a TAM.
Okay, yes, why not? Okay, but it's probably costing more than purchasing the business plan, the enterprise plan. Okay, when you buy for AWS and it has something included, it's gonna be probably cheaper than getting that particular benefit alone. So you have to balance it out and see what's better for you. Okay. So let me see. See here. What? Okay. So what happened here? Okay. So we have this guy here. Now we're gonna see what's going on here. Okay. Okay. So we have the basic, and now we have this guy here. This is very important. Okay. This is very important. The basic has no support. There's no case for that, right? Now the developer plan, business hours, it only gets support, normal support for normal cases. So developers don't have any critical thing. It's very rare that a developer has a critical matter. If you have something critical, you have all the developers with you. You don't need AWS for that, right? But if you want to use AWS, it has to be a normal case, right? It cannot be critical, urgent, or high. It has to be normal because you don't get support for anything higher than that, right? And the turnaround is 12 hours or less. So they will get back to you 12 hours or less because it's a normal case. It's not nothing. It's nothing. Urgent, right? And now, when it's low, it's double. It's 24 hours or less. Okay, that's when they get back to you. When AWS gets back to you. If it is a business plan, it's 24/7. You get more benefits, right? More benefits. You can open a case when it's urgent, but it's not when it's critical. Critical is only for enterprise, right? So when it's urgent, you open a case, right? And when you open a case, they will get back to you 1 hour less, right? If it is high, that has a lower priority than urgent, it is 4 hours or less. And if it is normal, it's the same as developer, 12 hours or less. And if it is low, the same as developer, 24 hours or less. Now, when you get to the enterprise, remember you're paying so much money for this guy, right? Enterprise is 24/7 as well, but the critical matters, they have a 15 minutes or less turnaround. That's super fast, right? And if it is urgent, 1 hour, 4 hours, 12, and 24. So for you to remember this, just look at the normal and low section. It's the same for business, for developer, business, and enterprise. The same thing. Normal is 20 hours or less, and low is 24 hours or less, right? Now the high is the same for business and enterprise, right? The urgent is the same for business and enterprise. The only difference is that for critical cases, enterprise can open a case, right? Now let me show you a little more, a little more detailed thing here. Let me see if I can show you something here. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, so I can come here and say, for example, AWS support plans cost. Okay. And then I can come here, see here. So the developer, the basic is free for 1 year. Okay. The developer is $29 a month, right? Or 3% of monthly AWS charges. Okay, so whatever is lower. The business is $100 a month, right? Or 10% of the monthly AWS charges for the first 1 to 10K, 0 to 10K, 7% for the first 10 to 80K, 5% for the 80 to 250K, and 3% if it is over 250K. Okay. Enterprise is greater of $15,000 or 10% of 150K. 7% of 150K to 500K, 5% 500K to 1 million, and 3% if it is over 1 million. Right? So this is the cost of the plans. Okay. These are examples of, for example, with just $2,000 a month, $85,000 a month, and $1.2 million a month. Examples.
So you get one TAM, correct?
What do you mean 110?
Let's say you're saying 15K for the enterprise, right?
Yeah, yes, you get a 10. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna bring now what every plan has.
Okay.
Yeah, let me see if I can find that. Let me put this on Slack. Okay, this is AWS support plans compared side by side comparison, cost comparison. Okay, so now let me bring here the, let me see if I can see something, compare AWS plans. Let me see if I get something here that gives me better understanding of what each plan has. Okay, there you go, right here. Okay, so basic non-technical customer service communities. So business hours, access to customer service documentation, white papers. Okay. Yes, best practices, access to 2 core trusted advisor checks. Okay, guys. Let me ask you this, what are the plans? Select 2. What are the plans that have access to 2 core? Actually, it's to 7 core, but it says 2 here. The 7 core trusted advisor head checks. Okay, these are the guys, right? What are the plans that have full set of trusted advisor checks, business and enterprise? I recommend taking a look at this guy because out of this points here, you can get several questions in the exam. Okay, architecture support, general guidance for developer, contextual guidance based on use case, consultative review and guidance based on your application solutions. Launch support, infrastructure event, that's a service. Let me see if I can get to the TAM. Where's the TAM? somewhere here. Technical support, right?
24.
You can get business hours only by email, only for developer. Basically doesn't get anything. This one is 24/7 access, email, chat, and phone. And these guys, they get the same, but they get access to the senior cloud developers. Okay. Now, in the case of the basic, no one can open a case. Okay. I don't know why it seems that they changed this, but with the basic, no one can open a case. Okay. Here's only one person can open a case, unlimited cases. Here, unlimited contacts, unlimited cases. I am supported, unlimited cases. Here, I don't know, it seems that they updated this. So I recommend taking a look at this before this, because right now, in this level, both the basic and developers have the same benefits. It was not like that before. The basic didn't get anything. Okay. I don't see the TAM anywhere here. Do you see the TAM, guys?
Would it be the third-party software support?
Where is it?
No.
Third-party, right there.
No. Oh, it's right here. Designated technical account manager.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, designated for you. You get also an assigned support concierge. Remember, this is a guy that helps you with the non-technical issues.
You're really paying the $15, $15,000 for all of this, not just for the TAM.
Yeah. You get a lot of things, but what makes the difference here is the TAM. This guy's here. You see, this is not here, and you get almost the same thing for everything here compared to the business one, right? But what makes really makes the difference is these two guys. Okay, and also operation support. But this is what makes this really expensive. You're getting a person designated for you. Okay, that's gonna pamper you along the way. Okay, so I'm gonna post this. This is what is the heading of this. Compare AWS support plans. So compare AWS support plans. This is very heavy in the exam, guys. Support plans, super important. Okay. By the way, I already pasted the video for today. It's right here. Okay. So now we continue. So, so I'm gonna break up the class. I'm gonna do this, right? We only have probably the last 27 minutes that we have when I do this. So break up it into groups of 4 or 5 people and develop a recommendation for the best support plan for one of the business cases that are provided. Okay. The business cases are this, what we saw in the see here. Okay, so we're gonna see maybe read a little bit in group. One person can just read the plans, all this, and learn a little bit more about that. And that's just probably come up with a few recommendations for any company that you know, or any use case that you think of. So what do you think would be a good candidate plan for a specific company that is in need of this, of that? Okay, so basically what I want, guys, is you go over the plans, the 2 links that I gave you, and discuss that as a group, right? And try to become more familiar with that, because that's very heavy in the exam. Okay, so I will separate the class. I have right now, I have 25 people, actually 24. So I'm gonna have probably, let's say, 4 teams of 6, or 6 teams of 4. Okay, that's better. Okay, let me break up the rooms. Okay, and I'm gonna have 4 participants per room, and you're gonna get an invitation to join a room. Okay, I'm gonna be going around the rooms, and we're gonna make this more often as we advance in the course. But we're gonna do it more for technical part, for a technical assignment, than for just discussing and things like that. I'm gonna make you or have you work on technical assignments. Okay. Let me just separate the class. I'm gonna do it now. So Anusha, you need to join. Yes, Omaro, Anusha, Pete, you need to join. Mohan, Florentina, Gilda, Demetrius, right?
Hello.
Yes, guys. Thank you for participating in the different groups, and let's just finalize this, and then um, so today we just explore the fundamentals of the AWS pricing, review the TCO concepts, introduce the AWS simple monthly calculator and the TCO calculator, review the billing dashboard, review the technical support options and cost, and please don't forget to do the knowledge check for module 2, right? Don't forget that on Canvas. And how would you answer this question? Okay. Which AWS service provides infrastructure security optimization recommendations? That's the key word here. Keyword, recommendations. Which one is it?
The trusted advisor.
Trusted advisor. That's the one, right? Whenever you see the word recommendations, that's
advisor.
Yes, that's a trick for your exam. That's a tip. When you see recommendations, service that offers recommendations for security, optimization, cost, and things like that, AWS Trusted Advisor. Okay. So additional resources you have here: the Economic Center, TCO calculator, case studies and research, additional pricing exercises. I can post this on Slack when we're done with the class, right? And thank you for participating. Now, guys, I earnestly and strongly recommend that you guys study. Don't leave anything for the last minute. We're just on module 2, right? We have covered 3 modules. We still have 8 more modules. We have 10 modules. It's tons of information. I recommend you, I advise you to study every day. Don't leave anything for the last minute, okay? So I wish you the best of weekends, and I'll see you again on Monday, okay?
You do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Same to you.
Mm.